Here we are again, talking all things Eternal Sunshine by Ariana Grande. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today we are going to take a little bit of a deep dive into the album of the year, Eternal Sunshine by Ariana Grande. This album is about 3 weeks old, maybe closer to a month, and it's still the only album that I can listen to because it feels wrong to listen to anything else. We're going to talk all things Eternal Sunshine. I have my notes here. Trust me, I've got pages of notes. We're going to go through each track and I'm going to talk about basically how this is the best album that I've probably ever heard in my life. I was also planning on maybe doing other videos where I go on a deep dive of going through what songs mean and like going through the lyrics and analysing the lyrics of specific songs. I feel like I am going to do that throughout this video, but if you are still interested in those types of videos, then please do let me know. If you do like this style of video, do let me know as well, because it is a little bit different. A lot of planning went into this. I should have also filmed this probably weeks ago, but I just have not had the time. I wanted to make this video very good as well. I hope this video ends up coming out good. We're going to just start. We're just going to get on with it because I have been talking probably way too much already. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy and subscribe down below. So we start the album with the intro, End of the World. Ariana asks us a very big question. How can I tell if I'm in the right relationship? And throughout the whole album, we search for the answer. In the final track, Ordinary Things, featuring Nona, Nona answers that question. She said, "Never go to bed without kissing goodnight. That's the worst thing to do. Don't ever do that. And if you can't and if you don't feel comfortable doing it, you're in the wrong place. Get out." I think that the whole song kind of answers this question. Ultimately, what the song is saying is no matter what you do with this other person, and it doesn't even have to be a romantic partner, but whatever you do with this person, it's going to be a special moment because you're with that person. It kind of gives the sense of Paper Rings by Taylor Swift. In Paper Rings, Taylor is saying, I would literally marry you in paper rings, like I don't need the most expensive ring. Similarly, in Ordinary Things, Ariana says, we could spend every dime, but I don't want anything but more time. Ariana's saying that she just wants to spend time with this person. And I find it so cute how this song, she's saying all this in this song and it's literally with her Nona, it's with her Nan, it's with her grandma. Like, how cute is that? Another thing that I forgot to mention was after the line, how can I tell if I'm in the right relationship? She says, aren't you really supposed to know that? Feel it in your bones and own that. And I feel like what she's saying there is, you know, when you ask someone, like, how do you know? And they just say, when you know, you know. So the start of the intro begins with like a whooshing sound. I will play it so that you can kind of understand what I mean. Like, that sounds like a whooshing sound, almost like a planet or something like that. And I feel like that symbolises like a wake-up moment, the start of a new beginning. I also feel like that goes very well with the theme of the album. There's a lot of space themes. We have an interlude called Saturn Returns interlude. The album is literally called Eternal Sunshine. So later on in the intro, she says, if the sun refused to shine, baby, would I still be your lover? If the moon went dark tonight and if it all ended tomorrow, would I be the one on your mind? So obviously we have those sun and moon references, which again goes with the space theme. I feel like in those lyrics, what Ariana is saying is, I guess she's kind of questioning what really is important and if the connection between her and this other person is really special. She's saying if there was nothing left in the world, would we still mean anything to each other? So I feel like throughout the whole album, we go through polarizing emotions and all the ups and downs of this like healing process. In the next track, Bye, we are saying bye to this relationship. It's almost like the opposite of an FU vibe. Ariana said in her Zach Sang interview that she didn't want it to be like this FU song. She's saying bye to this person and moving on to the next chapter of her life. She's celebrating the end of this relationship. She's dancing through this heartbreak. In her Zach Sang interview, she also mentioned how her mum is a really big inspiration. I think that this song was inspired by kind of her mum's perspective. I guess what she's saying is because she grew up in a broken home where her parents were divorced. She says in the Zach Sang interview that they got divorced for all the right reasons. I guess what she's saying is that her mum taught her how to deal with heartbreak. I don't know whether this was like purposely done, but obviously going back to the last track, Ordinary Things, and her Nona gives her the answer to the question that she asks to start with. And this track, like I mentioned, is kind of inspired by her mum's perspective. I feel like this whole album is kind of inspired by family, and I think she incorporates what she has learnt from her mum and her nan. She also mentions Courtney. Courtney is one of her well-known best friends, so I guess it's that real vibe of if you're going through a breakup, then you've got your friends to lean on. I guess this song is kind of a flip of the next song, which I'll get into, but Don't Want to Break Up Again is kind of holding on to this relationship. So also talking about Don't Want to Break Up Again, which I'll get into, but one of the lyrics in Bye is, "This ain't the first time I've been hostage to these tears. I can't believe I'm finally moving through my fears." And then later in the song, she says, "This hook is too hard to sing, but it's better than repeat." I think that this covers a lot and could be could be seen in many different ways. And I think the beauty of music is you can view a song in any way that makes sense to you. So you might disagree with my interpretations of these songs, but that's okay. But basically, in Don't Want to Break Up Again, she covers how she's scared of letting go of this relationship. She doesn't want to be seen as someone who can't keep in the same relationship. But in this song, she's saying the opposite of that, and she's saying, "I can't believe I'm finally moving through my fears." This hook is too hard to sing, but it's better than repeat. And I feel like that is a very interesting lyric because throughout a breakup, you probably do the same things. I've never actually been through a breakup and reminisce over what you lost from this relationship, but I think throughout this song, Ariana is celebrating what she learnt from this relationship and how she can move forward. With the word repeat in "but it's better than repeat," this could be the repetition of falling in love and breaking up. And also, I feel like it's so easy to stay into a relationship, especially something like a marriage or a long-term relationship, because there's so much comfort in that. But I suppose this whole song is challenging that and moving on from that fear. One of my favourite lyrics throughout this song is, "Didn't think you'd lose me. now it's just too late to choose me. I think that there is also a bit of a parallel to Yes And. In Yes And, she says, your energy is yours, mine is mine. That is one of my favourite lyrics through that song. In Bye, she says, I'm taking what's mine. I think it's so easy if you come out of a relationship and you reminisce over what you lost in that relationship, but Ariana is saying the opposite here. She's taking everything that she learnt about this relationship and she's not going to lose herself for this other person. I think I'm going to go back to that point about learning from a relationship in a later song. So in the third track, Don't Wanna Break Up Again, it follows Bye, which, like I say, Don't Wanna Break Up Again is kind of like a flip of Bye. And I think this is very interesting how she's done that. And like I say, that goes back to the polarizing emotions throughout this album. I think Ariana even said in her Zach Sang interview that there are a lot of polarizing emotions throughout this album, and I think that's a big thing of healing. There's always going to be those ups and downs. So I think a big theme throughout this album is being in the public eye. I think there's a lot of themes throughout this album. The title, Don't Wanna Break Up Again, I interpret this as Ariana doesn't want to be seen as someone who can't stay in the same relationship. I'm probably going to talk about this in a later song as well, but I think that there's a lot of women, not even necessarily just in the public eye, but when a woman goes through a relationship to the next relationship, they're shamed for doing that. And a man can literally do the same thing and no one says anything. So this also links with her use of situationship. This situationship has to end. I mean, everyone's saying that she's referring to her marriage as a situationship. I don't really like to go into specifics and I don't really like to talk about celebrities' personal lives. I mean, it is quite hard not to do that when I'm filming a video like this, but I think that the use of situationship links with the fact that she's afraid of being seen as someone who can't stay in a relationship. Situationship implies that it's not a serious thing, so other people view it as like a situationship. I mean, you could view it in the sense that this marriage or this relationship feels like it's a situationship because they've got to the point now where they just don't really have that same connection that they did at the start of the relationship. Don't Wanna Break Up Again is, I guess, the moment where the relationship begins to deteriorate. I think the sense of don't want to break up again is saying that she's trying everything in her power to keep this relationship. So the first line in this song absolutely breaks me. I'm going to talk about how I want to interpret this, and purely just because probably I don't want to view it in face value. I fall asleep crying, you turn on the TV. So you're telling me that you're falling asleep and this other person is just turning on the TV while you're falling asleep crying. So the way that I read this lyric, because I don't want to stand for that literal interpretation, I kind of just see this as these two people in this relationship are living complete different lives. This is also reinforced throughout Eternal Sunshine, which I'll get to. I think that what this lyric could mean is it could be a metaphor for the fact that these two people are just on completely two different pages, and one person is really upset and wants to work things out, and the other person's mind is just in a complete different place. So in Don't Wanna Break Up Again, she says, I'm too much for you. and this is the block of the relationship. Now, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later, but I think there's a proper mirror effect throughout the whole album. In this song, she says, "I'm too much for you," and that is what is stopping this relationship from working. But in a later song, "Imperfect for You," she says, "Usually I'm effed up, anxious, too much." And then it changes throughout each verse or each chorus, is it? "I'll never forget when you told me, you said usually I'm effed up, anxious, too much." She says, "I know we'll be there for each other when we're effed up, anxious, too much." And I think ultimately what that song is saying is because these two people are so effed up, anxious, too much, that's what makes them so perfect for each other. If you simplify the title down, it's "I'm perfect for you." But previously, the fact that she was too much for this person, that's what stopped the relationship from working. And if we go back to the start of the album, where I mentioned that whooshing sound, and that symbolized like a new beginning, that could also really link with that. So the next track is Saturn Returns Interlude. This is the wake up moment throughout this album. Obviously, we're following the space theme with the use of Saturn. So this is an interlude where Diana Garland speaks, who is an astrologist, and she explains that Saturn is somewhere when we are born, and it takes 29 years for it to get back to that position. She says Saturn comes along and hits you over the head and says, "Wake up." And then she does repeat saying "wake up" at the end of the interlude. So this interlude prepares us for the next stage of the album. So basically, Saturn Returns is the moment of maturity, transition, redirection. And like I say, this is the wake up moment throughout the album. If you think about the first few songs in the album, Bye and Don't Wanna Break Up Again, these are the songs which in one song we're letting go of this relationship, and in the other song we're not wanting to let go of this relationship, which again goes back to the polarizing emotions. So I think that these two songs kind of summarize what healing from a relationship or from somebody or something we don't see just right. We'll get to that. So that's what the first two songs symbolize. But this wake up moment sets us up for the rest of the album, where we're reflecting on what went wrong in this relationship, and we're also reflecting on moving forward from this relationship. So I think that is it for the interlude, and we're going to go on to track 5 of Eternal Sunshine, which is the title track, Eternal Sunshine. So Eternal Sunshine is a track which is inspired by the film Eternal Sunshine and the Spotless Mind. When I was researching for this video, I wasn't going to put this in this video because it actually made my heart break. Apparently the intro to this song is her and Mac Miller laughing, and she says something like, "You should be here with me." Like I say, I don't really like to talk about specifics and music artists and celebrities' lives, but apparently Eternal Sunshine and the Spotless Mind was one of Mac's favourite films. So throughout this song, Ariana is referring to her relationship as "my eternal sunshine." She's basically using the film Eternal Sunshine and the Spotless Mind as a way to reflect on her relationship and refer to that. So I haven't actually seen this film. I really want to. I really should watch this. Eternal Sunshine is basically a film about two former lovers, and they both undergo a procedure to wipe each other out of their memories. And I think one of them finds it harder to let go of this person and like this procedure basically doesn't work. I guess on a deeper meaning, what Ariana is saying is she doesn't want to let go of these memories because she's using them as a way of learning from what she learned in the relationship, which goes back to a specific point I had about, was it about taking what's hers and not reminiscing over what she lost from the relationship, but more so looking at what she learned from the relationship. Eternal Sunshine. So there are lyrics, so I try to wipe my mind just so I feel less insane. I'd rather forget than know for sure. I guess that the fact that this is inspired by Eternal Sunshine, the film, this also goes back to the mirror effect. Like in terms of a mirror, a literal mirror would be it's reflecting on what's actually happening. But in this sense, like the mirror is reflecting on two complete different narratives. I didn't really think about it in this way, and like I say, I don't really like to comment on celebrities' personal lives. I'm gonna keep saying that, but then I'm also going to keep kind of dipping into that. I don't even really need to go into detail about the fact that, I mean, if I talk about the word allegations and rumours, you probably know what I'm talking about. On one side of the mirror, you've got all of these allegations relating to Ariana. On her side of things, you've got her truth, which is the only truth that matters, which is also a big theme throughout this album. I'll get to, but I also feel like in the intro she says something about truth. And in this song she says, I've never seen someone lie like you do. And then later on she says, I showed you all my demons, all my lies, which also could be kind of like a mirror effect. And in this song she says, it's like I'm looking in the mirror. I'll be the first to say I'm sorry. And the switch throughout the whole song. Now we play our separate scenes. So there's that kind of mirror effect, because in the first chorus she says, now she's in my bed laying on your chest. And then the second chorus she says, now he's in my bed, he's in your bed laying on my chest. I don't want to sound dumb here, but like, so the sun orbits the earth orbits the sun, but the sun moves around the earth. That could also demonstrate the mirror effect. Another lyric in this song is get me out of this loop. Similarly in Bye, when she says it's better than repeat, she could be referring to the fact that she still feels trapped in this relationship. I guess that the bridge kind of follows that loop cycle. She says, won't break, can't shake, this fate rewrite, deep breaths, tight chest, life, death, rewind. I guess that could like symbolize the memories of this relationship. No matter how much she and this other person tries to move on from each other, they can't, because the memories just keep flooding back. I feel like what she's saying is no matter how hard she tries to move on from this person, there's always going to be like part of them that she can't move on from. So track 6, Supernatural. I feel like this isn't really too much of a deep song. It's kind of just a love song. So she says, this love's possessing me, but I don't mind at all. And this is a big parallel to Safety Net. I honestly don't think I've heard anyone talk about this. So in Safety Net, she says, don't know if I should fight or fly, but I don't mind. Supernatural implies that this love is almost like a supernatural force and it's almost taking over her. It obviously continues the space theme and the astrology vibe of it. She says, like the moon needs the stars. So like she needs this person, she can't function without them. I feel like she's also saying that this love is almost like too good to be true. I also feel like this song kind of lets go of all those fears of falling in love, kind of like a grown version of Safety Net. So the next few tracks are very interesting. I absolutely love the placing of these tracks. True Story is the next song, and True Story is ultimately Ariana is responding to the fact that the media have painted her out to be someone she's not. She's basically saying believe what you want to believe, which I feel like follows through in the next few songs. So ultimately, this song is just saying, okay, believe what you want to believe. And then the next track, The Boy Is Mine, is basically her playing with all of these narratives. She starts by saying, this is a true story about all the lies. Again, truth and lies are very much a theme throughout this album. If we're going to allude to kind of real life, I think if I say the words allegations or rumours, I think you know what I'm talking about. And this song and the next few songs also follow the public eye theme. In this song, she says, play the scene, roll the cameras please, I'll be the one you pay to see, I'll play the bad girl if you need me to, if it makes you feel better, I'll play whatever part you need me to, and I'll be good at it too. I'll be the one you love to hate, can't relate too much on my plate. I know that was a lot of lyrics, but all of these lyrics kind of follow the theme of being in the public eye and the fact that when you're in the public eye, you're not really seen as a human. You're more so seen as a character. You're not even seen as someone, you're seen as someone through someone else's eyes. If you're in the public eye, you're seen as a media product. So you're only really seen, if you're really that big of a celebrity, you're only really seen through media stories. So you're only really seen through what the media make you out to be. True Story, I feel like, parallels a lot to Yes and, particularly the music video, because in the music video, the people in the video say, if I read it on the internet, then it must be true. I think that the repetition of Give Me Love, despite all the backlash that people and like the narratives that people create, she still wants that genuine connection, which also goes back to the theme of truth, because she's looking for that genuine connection despite all the false narratives. And that could also go back to my point about Don't Want to Break Up Again, where she's scared of letting go of this relationship because she doesn't want to be seen as someone who can't stay in the same relationship. I'll probably talk about this in the next few songs, but we see it in those songs as well, that the media have a really weird relationship with her. I feel like this goes with anyone in the public eye. You know, not everyone is going to love you. So people are looking at you at all angles, and some people are going to love you for the same reason that someone else might not like you. This could also go hand in hand with the fact that if you're in the public eye, it's so easy for someone to love you one day and then hate you the next, and vice versa. I think Ariana has really experienced this, maybe like no other celebrity. So, like I say, the next track, The Boy Is Mine, follows the narrative that people like to create, and she's playing with this narrative that people can just believe what they want to believe. In Caitlin Marie's reaction video to this album, she mentioned how this is like Ariana's version of Blank Space by Taylor Swift. I think that is the best way to really describe it. In Blank Space, Taylor is playing with the criticism and the fact that, you know, people always comment on her relationships, and she's playing with that. In The Boy Is Mine, Ariana is doing a very similar thing. And I do have to mention the fact that this track is literally titled The Boy Is Mine. I mention allegations and rumours. So at the start of the song, she says, but I don't want to cause no scene. I think Ariana really does like to keep her personal life. Maybe there was a time where she didn't really, and her relationships in particular were a little bit more public, and I think that's what that line is saying. She then goes on to say, I'm usually so unproblematic, tell me why, because the boy is mine. Again, she continues to play with the rumours and the allegations, and by saying that I'm so unproblematic, tell me why, because the boy is mine, she refers to herself as unproblematic until the boy is mine. And again, this goes back to the fact a lot of women are shamed upon if they go from one relationship to another. So saying, I'm usually so unproblematic, she's basically saying she's only problematic, and the only time where her name is in the media, especially in a negative way, is when people have things to say about her dating life. And honestly, I have not seen anyone comment on that lyric, but I just think that is genius. Throughout the whole song, she's just continuing to play with the media narrative, like I mentioned before. She also continues with the theme of the truth by saying there's no use in denying. I also feel like that goes with a lyric in Yes And, when she says, my tongue is sacred, I speak upon what I like. She's only putting her attention into things which deserve their attention. Again, she continues the theme of space and astrology with the line, the stars they align. That is also a lyric in Right There, where she says, finally the stars align. I also feel like the stars they aligned is Ariana going back to the fact that this is the start of a new beginning. Again, another lyric parallel, which probably is just a coincidence, but in the Sweetener interlude, aka Pete Davidson, she says, I thought you into my life, look at my mind. And in The Boy Is Mine, she says, I can't believe my mind. I feel like in the track Supernatural as well, there's that theme of like wanting the other person to claim her. So there's that sense of like manifesting the other person and bringing that person into her life. She also says, promise you, I'm not usually like this. It's like news to me, which again goes with the theme of being in the public eye. And I guess she's also seeing herself as this character that the media build her up to be. She's reading those narratives for the first time, literally as if she's a fictional character, and she's viewing herself as a fictional character. I feel like that's also a parallel in Fake Smile. But then we have Yes And. I feel like this song actually gets way too much hate, and I actually feel like it really works well as a lead single for this album, and it fits really well into the album. It gives a real sense of the album. I feel like another reason why she included this one as the lead single is because it doesn't give too much away from the album, but it kind of gives an overall sense of the album. So I feel like the term Yes And is kind of like a sarcastic response to like the public views. She starts by saying, in case you haven't noticed, everybody's tired and healing from somebody or something we don't see just right. It goes without saying that Ariana has been through so much, so she could be alluding to that, but she could also just be saying that we're all literally going through the same stuff and we should just be kinder to each other. And also saying, or something we don't see just right, that links to the theme of the truth. Most of the time we literally have no idea what people are going through. And I think she said something similar in the Zach Sang interview. The people that preach about like being kind are usually the people that literally do the opposite. So then she says, boy, come on, put your lipstick on. I think that this lyric fights the gender norms, and she's saying, you just do you and I'll do me, which kind of links to your energy is yours, mine is mine. So I guess this whole song is basically Ariana saying that she doesn't care about what other people have to say about her. People's opinions truly have nothing to do with her. If you're getting hate and criticism, really on a deep level, no one in a good place themselves would do that to someone else. He also says, no, I won't hide. And then in We Can't Be Friends, she says, I don't want to hide. The bridge of this song is probably one of my favourite bridges. She responds to kind of the backlash that she's faced over the more recent years. Don't comment on my body, and obviously the famous one, why do you care so much whose I ride? So the next track, We Can't Be Friends, aka one of the greatest songs ever written. I feel like once you get the gist of the theme that she's talking about, it's kind of just self-explanatory. Yes, that in this song, Ariana is talking about her relationship with the media, especially in recent years. I'm gonna say these words again, but allegations and rumours, particularly reflecting that, I feel like, but I also just feel like in general. So the title is We Can't Be Friends, in brackets, wait for your love. I guess this is kind of a way of saying agree to disagree. She's basically accepting the fact that not everyone's gonna like her, and also saying wait for your love goes back to the fact that the media have always changed their views on Ariana. They have created stories to make her out to be good, bad, ugly, everything in between. So saying wait for your love and wait until you like me again, that goes back to the fact that once this story passes, or once this specific story passes, then the next media story could literally be, oh my god, Ariana did this and she is such a hero, da 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 da. Like I said before, if you're in the public eye and people are watching you from every angle, and all of these angles are probably like, there's some truth in them, but they're not all fully truthful. You know, some people are gonna love you, some people won't, and maybe those opinions will change. So the song starts with Ariana saying, I didn't think you'd understand me. How could you even try? And here she's saying, how could the media, how could these people who don't even know me try and understand me? Because they don't know me. And if you think about the media in particular, all that they're trying to do is they're trying to make these media stories to benefit themselves more than to benefit her. And they're not even viewing her as a person, like I say, they're viewing her as a character. She then continues that by saying, I don't want to tiptoe, but I don't want to hide. I don't want to feed this monstrous fire, which again, the monstrous fire, if I allude to allegations and rumours, it could refer to that. And then she says, just want to let this story die. Again, it goes back to the fact that in general, if you're in the public eye, the media will go from one story to another. If you think back to Taylor Swift, when she was in her Reputation era and the whole world had this negative view on her, that's how it seemed to be, that everyone viewed her as this negative villain. But like, now look at Taylor. Now look at her. Again, she says, you cling to your papers and pens, which again is basically representing the media. She then says, me and my truth, we sit in silence. And then there is silence, which is just absolutely genius. I guess with that lyric, she is kind of alluding to her truth as being a person. Again, truth is a very big theme throughout this album. She is also saying that like the only truth that matters is hers. She is the only person that knows the truth. I honestly don't think we're ever gonna find out. And truly, it doesn't have anything to do with anyone else. If we go back to Yes and, she says, my tongue is sacred, I speak upon what I like. And then in other songs, she says, I got too much on my plate, saying that I've got so much other stuff to focus on that like other people's opinions on me is the last of my worries. I'm literally saying that in the view of Ariana herself. So in the bridge, she says, "I don't like how you paint me. Know that you made me." I feel like it's very interesting that she's using the word made me. By saying made is like continuing how the media have painted her out to be someone she's not. But I think in this instance, by saying made me, it's kind of like also stating that the media are manipulative and controlling, and like they control the narrative rather than she does. Is genius, and it's actually just hit me how genius that lyric is. Also uses a contrast of daydream and a night, which is also very interesting, and I feel like she does that because she feels more seen when she's not in the public eye. So the next track is I Wish I Hated You, which is the saddest song on this album and probably her most personal one throughout the album. So essentially this song is basically saying that it would be so much easier if you hated the person that you're grieving. The song starts by her saying, "Hung all your clothes in the closet we made, hoping life brings you no new pain." Here she's saying that she just wants the best for this other person. She doesn't want to let go of this relationship. She also alludes back to Eternal Sunshine because she says, "I rearrange my memories, try to rewrite my life." Again, she's trying to move on from this person. No matter how hard I try to, no matter how I want to, no matter how easy things could be if I did, no matter how guilty I still feel saying it, I wish I hated you. And the way that she says, "I wish I hated you," is really like she doesn't want to say it. Like she's fighting every urge to not say it by saying it. I don't think we've ever heard such raw emotion from Ariana in a song. She also goes on to say, "I wish you were worse to me," which kind of goes back to the fact that this song is about the fact that it would be so much easier if she hated this person. I guess this song is kind of like a mirror of Eternal Sunshine in some aspects, because it's saying that she can't move on from this person. Like I view Eternal Sunshine, I feel like what she's saying in that is she can't move on from this person no matter how much she tries to. So again, we've got those polarizing emotions. She says, "So close and yet so far." Maybe this is also alluding to the fact that these people are playing their separate scenes. They're so far away from each other, yet she still feels like she should be with this person. And also she could be referring to the fact that in the opening line of this song she says, "Hung all your clothes in the closet we made." I feel so close to this person because she's keeping the stuff that this person had. She just doesn't want to let them go. Another line that sticks out is, "Our shadows stand in parallel lines, just two different endings." I guess this follows the mirror effect. Apparently what this means, and I'm no geometrist, is that a thing? If two planes are parallel, they don't share any points. So what I'm saying is this is a metaphor of these two people who just can't be together. So we have two tracks left, Imperfect for You and Ordinary Things. I've kind of already spoken about them. I think I've said everything that I need to say about those songs, but just to recap, Imperfect for You is a song which is about two people who are so imperfect that they're perfect for each other. Also starts by saying, "We crashed and we burned," and then that turns into, "I'm glad we crashed and we burned." I guess what she's saying with that lyric is they crashed and they burned because it brought each other to each other. Or maybe she could be saying that her past relationship crashed and burned, and throughout the song she realizes that she's glad that that relationship ended because it started the next one. And then in Ordinary Things, Ariana is saying that it doesn't matter what she does with this person, every moment with them is special. This whole song, I feel like, really connects with answering the question, how can I tell if I'm in the right relationship? Especially with Hanona saying, never go to bed without a goodnight kiss. Don't ever do that. And if you can't and you don't feel comfortable doing that, then get out. And that's how we end the album. So I think that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I feel like my past 2 videos have also been related to Eternal Sunshine. So if you haven't seen my reaction and want to see my reaction, I will put it on the screen or link it below. I also ranked all the songs from Eternal Sunshine and spoke about kind of what I liked about them. Obviously in this video I dive a little bit deeper into that, but if you want to see my ranking, then I will also link that below or put it on the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye! I should have known that this video would take me ages to film. I really should have known that.